Tompkins made a surprise appearance for Cork, but it was no surprise to find that Maurice Fitzgerald once again was the man to look out for. Fitzgerald losing his marker to make the all-important difference, and Kerry were through to the Munster final. There they met Tipperary, who despite a determined effort in the second half which yielded this goal, never really troubled Kerry. A relatively quiet Maurice Fitzgerald used his strength to score this unorthodox point, and Kerry went on to take yet another provincial title.
Kerry are now official Munster football champions. Seamus Moynihan, the captain, lifts the cup up high.
In Connacht, Galway and Mayo was one of the ties of the championship. They met in the first round, and it was Galway who edged it, Derek Savage taking his goal well. In the final, Roscommon stood in the way of a Connacht title, and they pushed Galway all the way into a replay and extra time. Then came one of the blunders of the championship.
Back outside to Jar Fallon, a ball for Derek Thompson. Trying to get away, he's robbed, here's a chance, a goal! A goal for Galway that surely will send them to Croke Park.
I just want to congratulate our own team, a tremendous, absolutely fantastic character, and Roscommon on a great game, and well done to them.
Another of the early crunch games took place in Leinster, and there was nothing to separate Dublin and Kildare as the two sides played themselves into a replay. But in the second match, it was Kildare who sent Dublin crashing out in the first round for the second successive year. And though the Lily-Whites failed to score a goal, they'd done enough, and this last-minute effort from the Dubs came too late. And so Kildare met Meath in the decider, and they left things a bit late, keeping the huge Kildare support on the very edge of their seats.
Martin Lynch, the player loose inside. Here it comes from Brian Murphy. It's a goal!
In the Ulster final, Derry under Brian Mullins had to contend with Donegal, and it was a Joe Brolly goal just before full-time which proved the crucial score.
Here it is for Derry, and Derry may well have won the Ulster Championship.
And indeed they had, and so they met Galway in the semi-finals. But by now, Galway had found their rhythm, and they had too many ball players for Derry. Jar Fallon knocking over this one with the outside of his foot for Galway to run out convincing winners. By now, a wave of white had swept across Kildare and into Croke Park. Kildare and Kerry made up the other semi-final pairing, but such was the interest in the Lily-Whites that they appealed to not just the loyal but the neutral supporter too. They scored no goal, but put away enough points to dispatch the champions. And so we were treated to a unique final, a contest between two counties that had to endure a torturous wait in the All-Ireland wings.
That's a great ball. Donnellan inside George Joyce, here's a chance! Galway surely will score here, and they do!
And so it was Galway's title, erasing the pain of many barren years.
The West is truly awake. Galway are the All-Ireland football champions for 1998.
Yes, you couldn't mention the achievements of 1998 in football and Galway's win without mentioning the name of the man with me now, Michael Donnellan. Michael.
Game that was familiar to the players, but still plenty to be learned. And despite protesting that the rules were unfavourable, it was the Australians who won the first test after two quick goals in succession in the third quarter. In the second test, though, in front of a sizable crowd, two of Galway's stars, Jar Fallon and Michael Donnellan, secured an early lead which Ireland never surrendered. And with a greater points advantage, it was the hosts who were not only celebrating victory, but also the successful return of the series. In the Camogie final between Cork and Galway, Eileen O'Keefe proved the crucial difference between the sides with two very well taken goals. And so once again Galway lost out as Cork retained the O'Duffy Cup. In the women's football final, Waterford deprived Monaghan of a hat-trick of wins. But it's been hard to separate the sides in recent years. And after a draw in the first match, it was Waterford who finally took the title with a 3-point win.
Now, the year in sport was never less than interesting, sometimes for all the wrong reasons, as seen in the latter stages of the Tour de France. Earlier, the race had brightened up one of the busiest weekends of the year as it wound its way through Ireland.
Older coaster ride.
But for a long time, and not for the first time, it was Clare and their manager, Ger Loughnane, who grabbed the headlines.
In Munster, champions Clare were again favourites to take the title, and they got their campaign off to the perfect start with an emphatic victory over Cork in Thurles.
Runs on towards James O'Connor. Having come into this match, he has certainly exerted a huge influence. That's a wonderful stroke.
Tipperary and Waterford met in the second of the semi-finals, with the Dacia recording a memorable victory.
Dan Shanahan, a great catch. He's got a man inside him, Ken McGrath. Shanahan has the confidence to go for a big score.
And so to the Munster final. Waterford hadn't won the title in 35 years and were determined to finally end the Baron spell, as well as Clare's reign in the province.
Here it is.
So, all square after 70 minutes. The replay a week later failed to live up to the previous encounter, with Clare far superior on the day.
But it comes to Niall Gilligan. Will he take his point to go for a goal? Goal! Gilligan!
So, Clare's third Munster title in 4 years. In Leinster, Kevin Fennelly's Kilkenny hammered Dublin in the first round and continued their winning ways with a narrow win over Laois in the Leinster semi-final. Meanwhile, Offaly were dethroning Wexford.
Brian Whelan has the 65. We're inside the last minute. He drops it in. They go for glory and get a goal. Here they do! Offaly have come again!
The Leinster final was a disappointing affair, with Kilkenny capturing yet another provincial crown. It also resulted in the resignation of Babs Keating.
Here's Kevin Keenan. Gets it inside to Charlie Carter. Offaly defensive goal. Charlie! Kilkenny rejoice.
And so the quarter-finals were in place. Cyril Farrell and his team were fancied by many, but they had no answer to Waterford and a star midfielder.
Tony Brown catches it well, catches it high and puts it over the bar. What a performance.
Offaly's win over Antrim set up a meeting with Clare in the semi-finals, and it turned into a titanic battle.
On towards Johnny Pilkington, the man who got the goal. Here comes Pilkington, 20 metres out. He's put it over the bar.
The first replay was equally as tight, with Clare having the slight edge going into the final moments. Then, the unbelievable happened.
And the referee has blown up his whistle, but I think he's blown up before time.
He had, and so the saga continued. The second replay in Thurles proved to be another classic encounter.
Racing out ahead of Brian Quinn. Brian Quinn again beaten by Joe Dooley. Now the angle tight enough, but not so tight that Joe can master it.
There was intense rivalry in the second semi-final between neighbours Waterford and Kilkenny, with the Cats just about hanging on.
Will this be the first point of the second half? DJ hits it in low. PJ Delaney's after it. And that's a goal!
The final was a repeat of the Leinster decider, but in contrast it was a pulsating affair, with Michael Bond guiding Offaly to a famous victory.
Nicely in here towards Eredy, the man who got the goal earlier on. Coming forward again, missing it this time. And it's a goal! Brian Whelan has done it!
Well, next year's championship promises to be much the same.
Munster Championship crown for the Banner County.